I'm standing here at the Hay House, a phenomenal historical facility in Macon, Georgia, built from 1855 to 1859. And guess what? During 1855, slavery was still existing, and people from all over the world come to see it. But guess what? This house would not be possible without the contributions and the work and the involvement and the magistrate of African American slaves. They worked here to tell you about and to show you about the fortitude of the people who were enslaved and in bondage. And in spite of that, the kind of contributions that they made and the kind of loyalty that they have. And, it's just phenomenal, and that needs not be forgotten. This is Adeline Hall, who worked in this house. And she was a nanny and did some work as a slave. And she was born in 1855, and she worked here rather from 1855 to 1865. She was a slave then, and so she worked here as a young person. And then the slaves were free. But guess what? That's her as a young lady. This is her as an older lady. She continued to work here. This is about Primus Moore. And guess what? Primus Moore was a master plasterer. And he worked for a white contractor named Ayers, but he was so good until, although he was owned by the contractor, he did phenomenal work. But what's mind-boggling is how this guy was born as a slave, but was able to develop the technique and the ability to do the plastering. Let me tell you something else. Now, this is a huge house. A huge house. But guess who did most of the work in this house? And the reason I'm talking about that is that I'm bravely concerned about the lack of recognition that African American slaves, during slavery and thereafter, the lack of recognition that African Americans received as it relates to the kind of contributions that we have made, that we were making, and that we continue to make to this country. And this guy here, this is Chester Davis, and because of his involvement during the Jim Crow era, with the Hay House, though he was not a slave, but then, he did tours of the Hay House. They thought it would not be robbery to acknowledge the individuals, and it starts with the slaves. Watch me. Notice, bless our hearts, when we were slaves, we didn't even have a last name. They called them Tom and Mark and Ben and John and Jim. And the reason it's one name here, because at that point, when you recorded the names of these people, they would just had one name. And then after slavery, then you would see down at the bottom till they had Martha Goodman and Lizzie Cook and Clayton Jackson. So the last name became included, but that was kind of after slavery. But just think about the amount of history and the amount of heritage that we've lost because there was no way to identify who these people really were. So, I'm going to give a shout out, to all of those, my ancestors and your ancestors and all of those people, who played a role in the development, not only of the Hay House, but of the building of City Hall and of other structures. And it's amazing to me that although these people were slaves, they had the wherewithal, the intellect, and the ability to gain skills. And I just think that's absolutely phenomenal. I am Alex C. Haversham. I'm the publisher of the Macon, Middle Georgia Black Pages. I've been publishing it for 35 years. And you can congratulate me and the staff and the Black Pages management by going to the link that's included in this rendition, because we are just trying to prick the conscientiousness of everybody as it relates to the role that African American played and the role that African American can play, not only as it relates to self-help now, but what we have done to make a positive contribution to society, to the neighborhood, to the community, and to the quality of life for other individuals as well as ourselves. So my point to you, based on all of this history, don't just stand there, do something. Let's get it fixed in 2026.